I didn't find a hotel receipt. I didn't find text messages. I found a second car seat in the back of a Honda Civic registered to a woman named Sarah, parked outside a duplex 30 miles from our house. Okay, so just take a second and absorb that. Because 3 weeks before I placed that magnetic air tag under my husband Mark's bumper, I was worrying about whether we should repave the driveway. 30 days. That's all it took to dismantle 11 years of marriage, a mortgage, and every single memory I thought was real. If you're new here, subscribe. I post a new story every day. Alright, so let's go back to the beginning, because honestly, the red flags weren't even red at first. They were just beige. Mark was a senior project analyst for a regional logistics firm. Boring job, steady pay, standard 9 to 5. Or at least, it was a 9 to 5 for 9 years. Then, right around last autumn, the emergency site visit started. Now, here's where I'd have lost it, but she was patient. Mark started leaving at 6:30 a.m. on Tuesday and Thursday mornings. He said his firm took on a massive industrial client 2 counties over in Oakdale. At first, it made total sense. He'd come home exhausted, smelling like stale gas station coffee, complaining about traffic on the interstates. I'd literally make him dinner, hand him a cold drink, and tell him how hard he worked for our family. I mean, wouldn't any of us do the same? You trust your partner. You don't assume they're building a shadow life on company time. But then the tiny cracks started showing up. It wasn't lipstick on the collar, it was money. Small amounts. $40 cash withdrawals at gas stations in towns he had no reason to pass through. A Target receipt in his console for diapers. We don't have kids. When she confronted him about the diapers, he didn't even blink. He claimed his coworker had a toddler and he picked them up as a favor while getting coffee. Smooth, right? Almost too smooth. Would you have believed that excuse? Let me know below, because I feel like hindsight makes us all think we'd spot the lie instantly. So, she decides to stop asking questions and start collecting data. She buys a small tracking tag, slips it into a waterproof magnetic box, and snaps it underneath the rear bumper of his truck on a Monday night. Tuesday morning, 6:15 a.m. Mark gets up, kisses her on the forehead, tells her he loves her, and says he's heading straight to the Oakdale site. She waits 20 minutes, pulls up the app on her phone. He didn't go east toward Oakdale. He went south, straight down Route 9, stopping at a quiet suburban neighborhood in a town called Fairview. He stayed parked there from 7:15 a.m. until 3 p.m. Wait, read that part again in your head. 8 hours. Every single Tuesday and Thursday, his truck didn't move from that driveway. For 4 full weeks, she tracked him. Day 4, Fairview. Day 9, Fairview. Day 16, Fairview, with a brief stop at a local bakery to pick up a custom birthday cake. A birthday cake. By day 30, she had a calendar filled with timestamps, route logs, and location drops. It wasn't a fling. It was a routine. A disciplined, precise, weekly routine. What would you have done at day 30? Driven straight there, or waited for more proof? AD_pause_Q. Audio cue, brief silence, soft ambient transition. So on Thursday of the 5th week, she doesn't stay home. She calls in sick to work, gets into her sister's car, a neutral crossover Mark wouldn't recognize, and follows the signal in real time. 7:10 a.m. Mark's truck pulls into the driveway of a neat, brick front duplex. A woman walks out the front door in a robe. She holds a coffee mug. Mark gets out of his truck, walks up the porch steps, and kisses her. On the lips. Not a rush kiss. A quick, comfortable, domestic kiss. Then a little girl, maybe 4 years old, runs out the front door, grabs Mark around the knees, and he picks her up, swinging her around right there on the front lawn. I'll be honest, I didn't expect what came next. She didn't scream. She didn't jump out of the car and make a scene on the sidewalk. She sat in that parked car 2 houses down and watched her entire life reframe itself through a windshield. She pulled out her phone, took high-resolution photos of the 3 of them, recorded a 2-minute video of him carrying the little girl inside, and then quietly drove to a family lawyer's office. This wasn't just an affair. Her lawyer pulled property records that afternoon. Mark had co-signed the lease on that duplex 3 years ago. The utility bills for that house were being paid out of a separate credit union account he'd opened under his middle name. 3 years. They had been married for 11, and for 3 of those years, he had been running a second household on his overtime pay. The confrontation wasn't a shouting match. That's what makes this story hit so hard. It was completely cold. That night, Mark walked into their house at 6 p.m., looking tired, acting like he'd just put in an 11-hour shift in Oakdale. He dropped his keys on the counter and asked what was for dinner. She didn't say a word. She just laid out 12 printed photos on the kitchen island. The duplex, the kissing, the birthday cake, the child, and right in the center, the divorce petition already signed by her attorney. He looked at the papers. Then he looked at her. And do you know what he said? He didn't deny it. He didn't cry. He just slumped onto the kitchen stool and said, "How long have you known?" Not, "I'm sorry." Not, "I can explain." Just an admission that he'd been caught. Is there anything worse than a cheater who doesn't even bother to fight for the lie once they're caught? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. The payoff here isn't a crazy shouting video or slashed tires. It's the total, methodical destruction of his safety net. Because he'd used marital assets to support his second family, her lawyer went after his pension, the equity in their primary house, and back pay for the funds he'd diverted into that side account. He lost the house. He had to liquidate a massive portion of his retirement to settle the financial misconduct claims. And the kicker, once the stress hit and his finances collapsed, the woman at the duplex, Sarah, realized he couldn't support her lifestyle anymore either. Within 6 months, Mark was living in a 1-bedroom rental apartment by himself, paying alimony, split down the middle, stripped of the double life he spent 3 years building. She walked away with the house, her dignity intact, and the complete peace of mind that comes with knowing the truth, no matter how much it hurt to find it. Honestly, this story just goes to show that some people don't fear hurting you, they only fear getting caught. The moment you take away their secrecy, their entire illusion crumbles. What's your verdict on how she handled it? Would you have confronted him on the lawn, or played the long game like she did? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like the video, and remember, I post a new story every single day, so make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next one.